This is how my AI agent trains over 100 hotel staff simultaneously. If you work in a large hotel, you know that staff training can be a nightmare, especially if you're trying to do it at scale. Managers are overwhelmed because they're answering the same questions repeatedly. SOPs just get ignored, and new hires, well, they're overwhelmed. They're confused, and they're constantly interrupting one another to ask for help. So I built an AI voice agent which solves this entire problem. It calls staff at the end of every day to check in. Staff can call it at any point within the day to act as a companion, to draw directly from the company SOPs and get answers instantly. And it even adapts based on who's calling. In this video, I'm first of all going to show you a live demo, and next I'm going to show you exactly how I built one, from the tech stack I used to the prompts, and how to actually integrate your company's specific SOPs into the system. If you're new to the channel, then welcome, my name's Liam. I help businesses all over the world to implement advanced AI phone agents into their businesses. So if you'd like to explore how we can do the same for you, just use the first link down below to book a free AI consultation call. I look forward to hearing from you, and now let's dive into the demo.
Alright, so for this solution, we will use Vappy, Make.com, and also a mock database here in Google Sheets. Now, in the real world, of course, for clients, we use their real CRM or PMS. We can integrate with almost any software out there that you use on a regular basis, as long as they have an API access. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, we take care of all of that. And yeah, just so you know, Google Sheets is just an example to showcase what is possible. There's two parts to this demo. So first of all, I'm going to call this agent as a staff member who has a question. And second, I'm going to show you the checkup call at the end of the day, which retrieves information, automatically generates AI reports for your managers to look at. So here's the first call.
Hey, this is Kate. What question can I help you with?
Okay, so there was this lady who said that she has hair in her bathtub, and she's like really concerned that the whole room isn't clean. What do I do next?
I'm glad you reached out. Here's what you can do in this situation. 1. Apologize sincerely. Begin by apologizing to the guest for the inconvenience and assure them that we take cleanliness very seriously.
Yeah, like I've done all that, but can I offer them like anything in compensation? What does our protocol say?
Based on our guidelines for handling complaints, this falls under level 2 moderate impact. You should apologize to the guest, offer a small gesture of compensation, such as a drink voucher or a discount on their next stay, and then escalate the issue to the duty manager. Make sure to report this within the hour.
Okay, cool. Nice, I can do that. But I did actually have another guest ask if their late checkout was approved for their approved for the booking already.
Could you please provide me with the booking ID for that guest?
Sure, yeah, it's 8251.
Great, please share the book. Thank you for that. Just to confirm, the booking ID is 251, correct?
No, it's 8251.
Thank you for clarifying. Yes, the late checkout has been approved for this booking. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like assistance with.
No, that's good. I'll take care of it for now. Thanks. Bye-bye. Alright, so now onto the second call. This is when the shift has ended or is about to end, and I'll show you in a moment. The way we schedule this is we have a list of the shifts over here. It checks the when the shift ends, and 20 minutes before the shift, this scenario triggers a call which then arrives at the responding staff member. I'll show you more detail on this in a moment.
This is Kate for your end of day call. Do you have 2 minutes for me to ask a few questions?
Yeah, go ahead, Chop.
Great, thank you. First, what was the most common guest request or issue you dealt with today?
The most common one was probably that guests kept complaining that their rooms weren't clean. I handled it pretty well, I think.
Got it.
I mean, your SOPs say to give them like a drink voucher and escalate the issue. So, yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Second question, did anything happen today that you think management should know about?
Yeah, there was this one staff member, Abby. I know I'm new here, but she keeps telling me that I'm doing everything wrong, and not in a way that it seems like she wants to help me. Like she's just, complaining and pointing out my mistakes and doesn't feel very supportive.
Thanks for sharing that. I'll make sure to pass it along to the right people. Third question, were there any tools, systems, or processes that...
Oh god, yeah,
the
thing that I hated most was checking in guests. The software was just so unintuitive.
That's really helpful to know, thank you. Fourth
Yeah, sure.
question, Was there a team member you think deserved a shout out for how?
Yeah, definitely. Tommy did such a good job. There was this one guest just yelling and screaming around because somebody got his order wrong for the restaurant, and Tommy was so calm and professional.
That's great to hear about Tommy. Okay, thanks for sharing that. And finally, do you have any suggestions that could help us improve how we train new staff?
Yeah, just do more AI solutions, honestly. I mean, the less kind of manual thinking and repetitive things we have to do, the more we can focus on human interactions, which is what guests really seem to value here.
Got it, great suggestion. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
You're very welcome. Take care.
As you will see now, is going to generate a report in just a second. Just like that. And now it has generated a report into here for the manager to take a look at with all the answers to the questions. Pretty damn cool. All right, now that you've heard the system in action, let me show you how to build one of these. And one thing I want to say from the very beginning is that you can, of course, modify this however you want. This is basically just a sneak peek into what is possible. You can integrate this into so many loops. You can have the AI listen to every phone call you make. You can have it update the training data, go into the SOPs. There's so many things you can do with this, but I hope that just this basic example will at least get you to understand how these things work and what is possible, and then your mind can start ticking and working out how you would like to use this in your hotel. So let's start with the VAPI agents. If you've never built this before, then I have plenty of tutorials on my channel, but I'm going to walk through this just very briefly. So effectively in VAPI we have assistants, and I've created two assistants here, the inbound and the outbound. Let's start with the inbound one. This one's the one that can answer questions, like in the first example. Basically what you do is you first of all, you have all sorts of settings here, which I won't go too deep into, but we first of all add the system prompt, telling it that it's Kate who helps staff at the Grand Hotel Geneva with questions. It can use the information tool, which I'll show you in a moment, to answer questions from the SOPs. And you can also use the Check CRM tool to retrieve live data about a specific booking. It can actually also escalate this to a manager if need be. And then you have a bunch of little tricks that you learn over time, like how it's supposed to pronounce the numbers, when it's allowed to end the call, all of those good things. But I won't go too deep into this. Effectively, this is just a big long prompt telling it who it is. Now next, you've got the voice configuration. I like to use the VAPI voice, and this is Kylie, the new VAPI voice, which sounds pretty good in my opinion. So definitely try that out if you haven't yet. Transcriber, you can set this to multilingual as well if you'd like. These agents don't just speak one language. And now we're going to get into the tools section. And the tools here are the information tool and the check CRM tool. The information tool, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, they just upload their, in this case I've just added a document with frequently asked questions that I just made up. That's the SOPs basically. A lot of people just add it to the files here. So in VAPI you can upload a file here, right? And then people think, okay, once I've uploaded that, I'm actually going to delete this. Once I've uploaded that, let me just attach it down here to the assistant. But that's actually quite a bad thing to do because the accuracy goes way down. Not to get too technical, but effectively what this does, if you put it down here, is it basically sends a huge amount of this document back into the prompt, and that gets overloaded. But what we want is just to get the answer to the question back into the conversation. And to do that, you use a tool called the query tool. So if you click on create new tool and then click on query, you can create a tool, call it information, for example, add a description on when to use this. So for example, use this to answer questions about the company SOPs, for example. And then here you add the knowledge base. And then you give it once again a description of when to use this, because you can actually add multiple different files, right? For our example, one is enough. But if you've got very extensive knowledge in different categories, then you can It's best to actually break it down. And then the file that you just uploaded, there's going to be a file ID. You grab that, and then in the query tool, you add the file ID down here. Okay? And now the agent, when it needs to look up something in the SOPs, instead of looking through the entire database, it just sends the question to the query tool, which then looks through the document and only brings back the answer to the question, which makes it a lot more effective and accurate. Second one, which is Check CRM. I'll break it down here. Check CRM, you can use this to check in the CRM for a specific booking. Like in the example, a guest wanted to know if the late checkout had been approved, and you can just call the agent and it will look through the system for you. So what happens here is, first of all, you ask it to extract parameters. And this is basically data that we can then send into the system to get an answer back. And you first of all specify, I want you to extract the question that the guest had from the conversation. And I also need you to extract the booking ID. Okay? And once those two are extracted, you send it to this URL. And that URL is in make.com. Right? It's the same one in here on a webhook. And now what happens is we have those two pieces of information in a separate system, in make.com, in an automation. So now we can look through the Google Sheet in our case. We can look through and filter by booking ID, so that now basically we look for this column with the booking ID. We can retrieve this information, and then we have an AI step here where we basically say, okay, take a look at all the information that we just got from over here, which is all of this green stuff, and then answer the question that was sent over. It says here question, which is the thing that we just extracted up here at the question. And then it will write an answer and send that back into the agent. And just think about how much time this saves you every single time, because now your staff doesn't need to go into the system and find the right booking, because that can take sometimes a couple of minutes. The agent does it like this. And it doesn't matter how complex these get. I know this is very simple, but yeah, it has a lot of power to filter through a lot of data. Now, the second call is a little more complicated. This is designed to give you feedback on how new staff is performing. So what happens is that you, first of all, you have to have a place where all your shift times are. Could be in, whatever software you use. In this case, I've just made 5 dummy shifts. And here you have the name, shift start, the shift end, and also the phone number. And what will happen here is that every day at 5 a.m., this thing will trigger. And it doesn't call them at 5 a.m., right? It just pulls all of the information out. You put this into an array, you iterate it, which means this is basically, all this does is make sure that these steps get repeated for each of the staff members. Then you have to format the phone number into the right format, which is, by the way, I can show you. It's the E. Just run this module once, in case you are interested. What you're looking for always is the E164 format. That's the one that you want, and this module basically formats it into a bunch of different formats. Then in here, the variables, you first of all extract the name, once again from the spreadsheet. I'll show you why that's important in a moment. And then the call time is basically the shift end minus 20 minutes. So 20 minutes before the shift ends, this will start. The agent will call. And then this thing over here is called a cron job, which is basically you can schedule the execution of another workflow at a specific time. So the call time is what we just specified, and we're sending over these 2 bits of information, the name and the phone number to call. So this is then kind of scheduled and set for, so right, this runs at midnight. It's scheduled maybe for 20 to 5. And at 20 to 5, this webhook here, this has the same URL as up here. So the information gets sent to here. You're going to see my API keys, but I'm going to have to blur these out. So basically what this does is it sends a request to VAPI to initiate a call. And what this does is you have to add your API key over here, the assistant ID up here, and then the phone number ID down here. Where do you find those? If you go into your VAPI account, and then you go onto assistance, and then the outbound that we made, I'll show you the prompt as well in a second. You copy this and paste it up here. And then the phone number ID is, if you go onto phone numbers, you just grab any phone number. You don't actually have to attach the assistant to it yet, or at all, to be fair. And then you've got the ID up here as well. And then you paste that down here. And as you can see, we have these variables that get sent across again. So we basically extract them from Google Sheets, send them into the scheduler, which then sends them to this webhook, which ultimately passes them into the call. So now the agent knows which phone number to call and who it is calling, because in the prompt, we have a dynamic variable. And what this means is, right, we're having, hey, Liam, it'll then say. And this basically, as soon as the agent starts, this gets replaced with a name. So now it knows who is actually calling and who it's asking these questions. And in the prompt, it's the same thing, right? We told it that who it is, what the context is, giving it a step-by-step of how to ask these questions, and then giving it a set of questions to ask, and these can be modified however you want. And the real power of this comes when you stack it up over time, because the agent will call every staff member at the end of every shift, gather all the bits of information that you need, and then this is the another URL which you configure in the advanced settings, in messaging, and then server URL. So as soon as the caller hangs up, or the agent hangs up, it'll send a summary of the call with the transcript into here, then into another AI step, which will then extract the answers to those questions from the conversation into a short document. Right? And here we're passing through the transcript of the call for this AI step to analyze. And then in this case, I've just put it into a Google document and into a Google Drive folder, but you can place this wherever you want into any software pretty much. All right, so I hope you got some value from this video. I know this wasn't a very extremely complex or complicated example. Maybe for someone who's never seen this was. But hopefully I was able to show you how we can use an AI agent effectively to actually do real world things, to get actual information, to help people out with SOPs and get data that you as a hotel can benefit from. So once again, if you'd like to work with me, you can book a free AI consultation call down below. And if you have any questions, just drop them down into the comment section. I answer every single one and I'm happy to give as much free value as possible. I look forward to hearing from you and I'll see you in the next one.